Let's move on to our next question on the Football Outsiders 33rd Team Sports Info Solution Draft or Pass show. And we're going to throw to you first, Aaron, on this one. So another scenario. Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, they are now off the board, and your team still has a need at quarterback. Who is your guy, and how high are you willing to select that guy?
I mean, the thing is, if you go by our projections, they all come in basically tied. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the stats tell you who's the third guy, right? Like, I think the scouts may tell you who's the third guy. Mm-hmm. They may tell you who fits your system as the third guy, or you might just say, you know, these guys are all equal. We'll take the last of the five who's still on the board. I guess I favor, you know, just listening to Derek Klass's scouting, I guess I favor Ritter a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I feel like everybody's got their fans. I mean, there are people who are Matt Corral people out there. There are definitely people who are Ritter people out there. There are definitely people who are Sam Howell people out there. If I need a quarterback, I mean, I'm willing to pick him in the middle of the first round, but I don't know if any guy particularly stands out as my guy.
Mike Tannenbaum, do you have a guy?
I do. I'm calling the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to see how much of the $18 million they're going to eat of Baker Mayfield. And that could be my guy if the price is right.
That would be my guy over these other guys too, I think.
Although, you know what's interesting, guys? I've said this before. There's a chance that if they have to release Baker Mayfield, that's an $18 million sales tax on the Deshaun Watson trade.
Yes.
And now, really, if you think about it, Deshaun Watson's costing them close to $64 million this year if they have to swallow all of that dead money.
Yeah, that's a big issue for the Browns, and it could be a boon to a quarterback needy team if you can get Baker Mayfield and at that kind of discount, especially because you get to pick the contract. Is that correct, Mike?
Well, you know, that's negotiable. You know, yeah. And ironically, Cleveland, to their credit, a number of years ago, Mike, they made a trade with Houston for Brock Osweiler. Basically, when you sort through it, they got a second-round pick for eating, I believe it was like $8 million at the time. Right. So, to me, that would be something where you say to them, hey, we'll give you a fifth-round pick next year, and we'll pay Baker, you know, I'm making this up, $6 million. So
right.
All of a sudden, if you're Cleveland, you're cutting losses, you know, you got to still eat 12, but you're not eating 18. It may be after the draft, candidly, but at some point, that's the calculus, because what would happen if they cut him, Baker will sign at the minimum, and then that $18 million would just be offset by the minimum of whatever team he goes to.
Mike, is that a little bit complicated with Baker and kind of the personality discourse on him? Because I feel like you'd really need to have the right fit, right? It'd have to be a team where the cupboard is bare, because to have him compete with somebody that you're trying to develop seems like it would be dangerous. Do you agree with that?
It's interesting you asked that, Matt. I actually have firsthand experience. In 1998, we were at the Jets, and we signed Vinny Testaverde, who up until that point had a somewhat disappointing career, number one overall pick. We signed him and took us to the championship game that year. So, you know, Baker, it's interesting. He, I know, isn't well regarded now, and I've been disappointed in him, but I went to Oklahoma the year he came out, and people thought really highly of him. So something has gone wrong, and you just hope that, you know, he's humbled by what's happened.
Maybe the injury too. The injury, who knows how much that affected.
It's hard to know how much the injury to the non-throwing shoulder, because we all kind of tried to tell ourselves during the season, well, it's the non-throwing shoulder. It's not a big deal, but clearly he was affected.
Matt, is there a quarterback on your radar in this draft, or you know, what do the Sports Info Solutions Data Hub tell us?
Yeah, the third ranked quarterback for us is going to be Matt Corral. Corral, however you say his name. He's RPO guy. Very hard to get a sense in that offense at Ole Miss of like what he's going to be. He's got some athleticism to him. I think he can sling it a little bit. I don't see high level ability to process. That's maybe a little bit because it's obscured by the film, but also there was enough on the film when we studied him where you saw the lapses that I wouldn't want to invest a first round pick in him, that sort of level. Right. So he's, a little bit lower. Again, nobody really standing out in this class. After him, we have Howell, we have Strong, we have Ritter, kind of all in that range. I'd feel much more comfortable spending a day 3 pick on kind of whoever's available rather than really investing any of these guys. Everybody had something. Even Ritter, who I hear a lot of praise of, he doesn't have a command of the football when he throws it, in my opinion. I think that it's an inconsistent release, and I'm concerned about both the velocity and the consistent accuracy, which at the end of the day is the number one thing that you need unless you're Josh Allen.